Welcome back to Project Independence and You, community talk radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I am Rebecca Miller, and Otto Los is our co-host. And now we have Kristina Liu, who is a radio show producer. We're going to catch up on what's going on in the town of North Hempstead and whatever else that the three of us feel like talking about. So let's start off by great guest, Kristina. Really terrific producing as usual. Great information. I think we could have had Kathleen on for 5 hours. And
it's so true.
There were a lot of topics that we could have gone even deeper into.
Definitely. I mean, it's such a, falling is just such a, the top, very topical of getting to all the different, places that takes us, with the home, setting up the home properly and making sure someone knows if you're alone, or there's just so many different things. So, thanks to you, Kristina, for bringing her on. And I definitely think we're going to be having her back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was certainly, she had such great information, and it was, as Otto, you know, I was sitting here, I was writing down because it was very filled with golden nuggets.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just love, I was thinking, I'm always reflecting on the anniversary that's coming up. And I said, a great project. And if I only had, some spare time, it was just, you could really take like a little golden nugget from like each show that we have and like put it in a book. Because I mean, there's really great tips. And I was writing down about the fall prevention, with the steps and putting the piece of tape.
Yeah.
I love a quick and easy kind of solution to something, that doesn't cost you some, extravagant thing, but there's little kind of modifications that you can do. And that, I have to say, that website, we'll put it up at the end of this video so you could see, because there's a lot of great information.
One of the little minor things we got onto doctor visits at the beginning of the show, and advocating and whatnot. And I believe that, you don't have to have somebody go with you on every doctor visit, but I do believe there are some doctor visits where you should have support with you on the doctor visit. And that person would be the one who takes notes and who might ask questions that you might be reluctant to ask. And I can talk from personal experience, that I believe there's a need for that, because sometimes you talk to people, they come home from the doctor, what did the doctor say? Oh, I don't know,
No, and I think that's something for any age, because I talk about that all the time in my head. I know there's times that I've had to go to a medical appointment and I'm in like pure panic, and your mind just kind of goes, black, and
and you don't write anything down. And you get home and you say, well, what happened? Gee, well, it was, no, it was really 4 weeks, not 2 weeks or whatever. All kinds of inaccuracies in your memory. And I believe that it's important to have another person, not on every visit, but on some visits, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Addressing an issue.
One of the things that I love about having these prestigious agencies on, these senior focus agencies, is it's a little selfish for us. I feel like, Project Independence is really doing it right, because it seems like we're doing so many, every senior group that comes in.
I know, you want to sit there and feel good.
Let me tell you what she was, so when I told her about even the doing the television fitness classes, we are, how important it is that, to acknowledge that we do have seniors that aren't going to get technologically savvy at a later point. I mean, a lot of them are, which is wonderful. So, I mean, just things like that. And it's like, okay, we're doing this right. And of course, our circle of support, Otto, which you always talk about, it is such what everybody has, all like their ways of doing a circle of support, but we kind of pull it together. So it just seems like we are doing it right. Not that we can't learn, because things are definitely changing.
Of course,
COVID, seniors living so much longer, people in their 90s and 100s, we talk about a lot, is not unusual anymore, right? It used to be, when you heard someone had a grandparent that was 90, it was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Today, it's like, some people are still driving into
no, of course, and, I say this all the time on the show, and I you can kind of gauge by, the population we deal with, and you can see, and it's interesting because it's I feel like a lot of younger people are signing up, for like programs like the exercise program and stuff. And then, the older senior is, because when the surveys come in and I'm looking at them and, inputting the data that we like to keep track of, it's just amazing to see now that, majority of the surveys coming in were, like a late 80s, 90s plus,
Right.
we had someone the other day that was like 100, and it was just amazing,
Yeah.
to really see that.
Right.
The
So,
circle of support is a basic foundation. And I know one of these days we will have it digitized. And I might even ask a couple of people that I know, now that I think about it, who might have the capability of doing that.
So I started doing that, when I have downtime, I play with it to kind of do. But I also, Otto, I want to talk to you, offline, obviously, because you had some great suggestions about like some little things we could even add to the circle of support, some categories that might have just, kind of come up, at post-COVID.
right. Well, it's definitely an evolving
Yeah,
document.
absolutely.
Well, I think we talked about things like devices that you might need, health-wise, like a hearing aid or glasses of some kind, where some people would be completely lost if they didn't have either of those. And there's probably lots of other things.
Well, I was thinking, because I've been working on our newsletter and stuff, and we were talking about that last week also about, just the preparedness thing, and just it's really all aspects of preparedness. And, I was saying in the circle support booklet, it's probably beneficial to have on the back page, the kind of toolkit for, you should have like your emergency kind of toolkit thing. Mm-hmm. This way it's all in kind of one document. I'm all about the condensed, document. You could listen, I know a lot of it is repetitive, right? And we've all heard it. I mean, you get it from all different angles of things that you need to do to be prepared. But I think that it's always good to have a little refresher, and it might be something you didn't like necessarily think of. I mean, how many of us are putting together and you're like, oh my God, like I didn't even think, I might need a battery for that thing, or this takes that kind of battery. It's all kind of different things to kind of trigger something in your brain to remember.
I've actually been in my thinking and in my own home since the last time we had that on last week. I've been actually working on that on my end, mm-hmm. And thinking about it in a go kit and a stay deal, mm-hmm. and mm-hmm. make a list of it and how easy is it to get to what you have. I don't know if you have to have it all in one place. Like if you stay in your house because of a power failure, you're not going to have a kit in one place, but you do have to have cash somewhere. You do have to have canned food somewhere. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of thinking involved. And I thought that was a good segment, frankly, last week. It
is, because like we said, we talk about this so much, but, having an interview like that, you like thought of certain things like, oh, wow, like that's something I should think about. And listen, that's the point of the show, is to really kind of, just.
I'm going to actually look into Tai Chi after today.
Good. That's what we like to hear.
I'm making an announcement.
Well, I'll
what
give
about yoga?
Shout out to
chair yoga.
Well,
John
I'm going to look on.
But John Ryan always laughs because years ago when he started the show, we had on actually one of our instructors, Joe Panico, was on. And he was talking about Tai Chi, and John was because it's very interesting, like mm-hmm. really the benefits and the proven benefits of it. And John went out and he was all gung-ho. He bought those Tai Chi pants. And he left because those Tai Chi pants are still, like hanging. I said, well, that was the first step, he got his pants. So, John eventually hopes to get, into the Tai Chi world, but he has his pants. So that's all that really matters.
I think that makes sense. I would go for wardrobe first.
Listen, I would have the outfit too, right? So you put me in any situation, I have to, ever since I was a little kid, you get me and my brother together, we have to always look the part of whatever, role we're kind of playing that day.
See, I'm the other way. Do you really, like some people, when they go out to walk, they got to have like a walking outfit. Me, I just go walk. By the time I fool around,
right.
With the outfit,
simple.
I'm going to walk. Yeah.
I wish I had that kind of freedom, Otto, but
you're in the business, basically.
Yeah.
And but like Tai Chi, I'm not going to get Tai Chi pants. I'm going to wear whatever pants I.
That's right, Otto. Whatever, everyone's different. But I think that's a great thing. And I always remember too, a couple of years ago we had on someone to talk about fall prevention, and one of the seniors that were there had a terrible fall and signed up for the fall prevention classes at Yes We Can Community Center. And he was saying, he started off in the chair, then he gradually stood up and held the chair, because it gave support. And it's as the classes progressed, he eventually didn't need that chair there anymore, so it just shows you the true benefits. And listen, these are free programs, and it's exciting, and it's wonderful that we're able to, fingers crossed, to offer these. The programs are starting at Yes We Can. I believe the Yes We Can Fridays are starting next week sometime. I
think so. Mm-hmm.
And that's great because, we unfortunately couldn't have that last year, and now we have that. So I just want to remind people that the exercise for balance and strength is going to be on Fridays at 9:30 a.m. That's Langone is providing those classes, and it's going to kick off September 24th.
And it's the same instructor will be coming.
Yep,
for
absolutely.
that came pre-pandemic.
Yes, and then you
they have to register for that.
Yeah, after that, you have at 11 a.m. is What in the World is Going On, which is a world events discussion group, and that's the same moderator that we've always had, who's a PI volunteer. Dr. Rosenblatt will be doing that. And then, of course, the fabulous Color Me Calm, which Gia, who works in our department, she facilitates that program. That's at 12:30 p.m. But you need to register for this. And it's great. It's exciting that people can get together again. And the registrations have been really coming in, which is nice to see. So I highly recommend everyone signs up for that for Fridays.
That's wonderful.
I have one
coming in.
That's not exercise, but because I walk in Tully a lot, I realize now that FEMA actually has set up an office because of Ida.
That's absolutely funny you said that, because
why do you think I said that?
Did I send you? Well, but I got a call, and I love my my radio family of co-hosts that unfortunately we don't get to see all the time because of this new kind of situation, but we're always in contact, and I love the random requests and questions that they reach out to me with. It's like the go-to. It's like, we know you don't handle us, but we're assuming you'll find the answer to it. So there was a robocall that the supervisor actually gave out last week about that. And what was wonderful is that communications, I reached out to them and they gave it to me in print. So this way, if a senior has questions, they can kind of look at that. So at Tully Park, FEMA has set up to help people who suffered from the horrendous, that hurricane, tropical storm Ida. So that's over at Tully Park. And I'm glad, Otto, that you saw it in the flesh.
Now, in order to take advantage of that, you have to make a phone call and get a number of some kind.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
First, you need to reach out to 1-800-621-3362, and you'll get a case number.
Okay, when we come back, maybe we can give that phone number again, but we do have to take a quick break. You've been listening to Project Independence and You, Community Talk Radio. We will be right back.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
Welcome back to Project Independence and You at Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I am your host today, Rebecca Miller, along with our co-host, Otto Los, and of course, Kristina Liu, who is the radio show producer of Project Independence and You. And this is actually where we learn from Kristina what's going on in the town, what's going on with Project Independence, and we usually just start talking about whatever we want. That's important.
Well, before the break, we were mentioning that at Tully Park, that's over in New Hyde Park, that FEMA has opened up a little headquarters there for an easier process for residents who were affected by the tropical storm Ida. But prior to the break, we said a key part of it is you have to call the FEMA number, which is 1-800-621-3362, and you get a case number. And then you're going to give kind of a general list of information, some damages or losses that you might have had. They'll go through it all with you, but then you could bring that over to FEMA, which at Tully Park. So I thought that was really wonderful.
That really, yeah, that was good. Last week, right? We had them on. Was FEMA, or was that the week?
Yes,
before?
that was last week.
Yep.
Yeah, last week. Yeah, I know. It seems, for some reason, it seems like a very long time ago, but yes, that was last week.
You know,
And also, I think is so nice, and I'm gonna have to go and bring a bunch of my my little nieces in my life to the Fall Family Festival over at North Hempstead Beach Park. It's going to be on Saturday, October 2nd, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And it's fall festivals are one of my favorites because it's really a great time for all ages to go. So there's going to be arts and crafts, bouncy slides, a petting zoo. There'll be tons of different music. There'll be food, and it's at the beach, which is really nice. So I think it's a nice reason. Hopefully the weather is beautiful, and everyone can kind of get together to do that. So I think that it should be really fun, and I'm definitely going to check it out. I heard a lot of little things that were going on there, and I told my my little nieces, and everyone's very excited about it. So
that's great.
Definitely recommend that. Is October 2nd at 12 p.m. So.
That's great.
I was at North Hempstead Beach Park last Sunday at the STOP program.
Oh, good. How did it go? Give us what happened.
There must have been hundreds of cars there.
Really? Hundreds?
Yes. And I'll tell you something. They were very efficient. I spent about 20 minutes online with all the cars that were there. And they very efficiently processed all the cars. There were a lot of cars. Cars were way backed up on whatever that road is, Shore Road or whatever. I credit to the people who ran it. It was very well run. And the people who live in North Hempstead put a lot of stuff out, loaded.
So Otto, so now what did you bring to the STOP program?
What I did to the STOP program was, I think I recall saying something about cleaning out every cabinet in this house and putting all the stuff on the dining room table, finding out we had 42 sprays of this kind and that kind and whatever kind, a lot of duplicates that were there for a long time in some cases, which we never used. And I put 2 boxes full of that stuff, and that was part of it. The other part of it was, as opposed to doing my own shredding with a small shredder that I have, I accumulated a lot of papers to be shredded, which they did like instantly. So I did shredding in that. You also could have bought electronic devices, which I did not have, but people bringing big old televisions and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, it was, very well organized. I have no idea where all that stuff goes that they collected, but they collected a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I know that, I know Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Long Island.
They were there too.
They take a lot of
donating clothing
which
and
is
stuff,
really wonderful.
Toys, whatever.
Now, Otto, did they have the different kind of stations still set up? Is that still
the way it worked is you waited on the line with your car, and I don't know how many cars back I was. I'll pick a number, 30, 40, when I got there, and I said this might be a while, but then it kept creeping up a little bit, and so you pull in, you show your identification that you live in North Hempstead, and then they ask you, what do you have? Electronic, paper, whatever, and stuff, hazardous waste, I think they called it. And then I said, well, I have a hazardous and I have paper. So they said, okay, you go over there to those 3 big green trucks for the shredding, and you dump your paper, and then you go right back where you were. You're allowed to go back into the line for hazardous. So the paper takes no time flat, and then you go into the hazardous line. And then they ask you, when you're in that line, do you have electronic or hazardous or both? If you have both, you stay in this line. If you just have hazardous, you go in the other line.
Well, that's so great.
And it was very smooth, the way they did it. And they help you get the stuff. You don't even get out of your car.
That's what I was going to ask next. So
they get it out of the car.
Wow.
If you happen to have any old televisions that weigh 200 pounds, and they do, trust me, they get them out of the car. Now you got to get somebody getting it in the car for you, of course. That's a different story. But they do immediately get it out of the car. They had lots of people there. I don't know if they're volunteers or paid or whatever. And then you just zip your way out of North Hempstead Beach Park. And it was super organized, and they did a great job.
Wow.
That's wonderful to hear. And then I want to, so if you missed that date,
There's
on
another
November 13th will be another one over at North Hempstead Beach Park. So that's Saturday, November 13th. And as Otto said, you can bring aerosols, household chemicals, pesticides, fertilizers, pharmaceuticals, TVs, computers, lithium batteries, of course, your shredding. And then what's really nice is that you can take things to donate to Big Brothers Big Sisters that include, work gently used clothes, stuffed animals, electronics, toys, sporting equipment, area rugs, luggage, picture frames, table lamps, glassware, dishes. It's really nice because I feel like they cover all the bases of things that, we clear out of our house, and it's a great reason. So that is November 13th. So I encourage people to do it. And Otto, you heard it here, people. Otto said it's a very easy, seamless process. You heard it from the source.
But what I like about the shredding part particularly is if you have a shredder at home, usually it's fairly small.
Yes, right? And my shredder just burns out instantly.
You do two pages and
it burns. And the bag in the paper, the next thing you know, it's filling all over the place, and you got shredding paper all over your floor, and you got to clean it up, and the hassle factor. All right. So what I have now is I have another box with paper here, which is a shredding box. And I'm just going to keep accumulating shredding paper.
Yeah, and that's what I always recommend, because this way, and then it's all situated, and then you're ready to go and get it shredded. I think that's a great idea.
It's great. A couple of months back, maybe it was about a year ago, actually, I cleaned out my attic because I was, we got central air put in. So the only storage we really have in our house was the attic. So we had to empty it out, and I'm so embarrassed. I had papers going back to 1980. My first checking account from 1982, and I had it was so embarrassing. We had the shredded guy, come to the house.
Oh, really? You had that much?
It was so cathartic. I let go of so much stuff. Things I did, do I need this? I didn't even. Here's the thing. They say that you can get rid of clothes that you haven't worn for a full year. Get rid of it because you're not going to wear it. I didn't even know I had stuff. So I was when I saw it, I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't get rid of this. I'm like, wait a minute. I haven't seen it in 40 years.
Right.
I definitely don't need it. So I got rid of so much stuff. I mean, I had no choice. And that truck came.
It feels good though, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's because I love when we have
really good.
We have on those segments where we kind of go through, organizing and decluttering. And those are some of my favorites with Barbara Feldman, who's kind of our organizing guru, because they're such great tips, and it's really stuff. And it does make you feel lighter. And I feel like everyone, especially during the whole COVID lockdown, was spending so much time in their house.
Clearing it all out.
And everything felt like, oh my God, I need to, purge things. And it's something that I totally have gotten better at, because we cleaned out our garage also, during that whole time.
I remember when you did that.
Yeah.
It was part of the show.
Yes. And it was it felt good, to do. And I think also, nowadays, listen, we're not as paper heavy because a lot of things are digital or email copied. I remember when we first even moved in our house. We've been in our house now for it's going to be 10 years, I think, also. And we had our filing cabinet. We would save all of our mortgage bills, our light bill, all these things. And then I was like, why are we saving it when it's online? What are we doing? And it just takes up so much space, and I think about
Kristina, you've been in that house 10 years?
Yeah, we moved in 2000. Yeah, in November, it'll be 10 years. It's a big year for me, guys. 10 years of the radio show, 10 years.
I know, it's a big year. It's a decade.
There's a lot going on.
I have a golden nugget for you, right?
Oh, I love it.
I have another box, which is what I call dumping time. That's if you're reluctant to get rid of a piece of paper, You
Otto,
put it
just
in the
when I
dump and
couldn't
time
love this
box,
man even more.
and you
I mean, you
clean
say
out
something
that
like
dump and
that.
time box periodically. And the chances are,
Oh,
I
dump
very
in time.
rarely,
I'm writing that one
if
down.
ever, look in the dump and time box. There's nothing that I've had to look back in, but it's just, I'm afraid to let go of that one,
Yep.
So you put it in the dump and time box, which is now
Otto,
where
I
I
think
put,
you have a business plan. I think
well,
this
I
is
put
going to
anything
market.
in there now. Like most of the time, somebody did bring up a good point 2 days ago about preparation for emergencies. All right. Here's one you never think about. I want to go electronic only for bank statements. All right. And so suppose all of a sudden the website goes down and you and Citibank or whoever's website goes kaput and you have no information because it's all in the cloud. So now what I do is I do keep one statement in the dump and time box for that catastrophe.
Well, I laugh because I fill out, and it's something that I guess I've just been doing forever. And when I was a little girl, I remember like being taught how to do it, because I still balance like a check register like book, and because I keep it in my wallet. Ask me why I had all the apps on my phone and all this stuff, but I'm still like very big on like writing things down, and it's just like psychologically like a check, like so this way I know like everything's golden.
Now, do you write a lot of checks?
No, it's not the checks. I just write down all like my transactions.
She has a checkbook mentality.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Right. It's just really balancing that like check register.
Keep doing that because I think that keeps your memory going too. But we have to take a short break. We will continue with Talk of the Town with Kristina Liu, the radio show producer, and our fabulous co-host Otto Los. You've been listening to Project Independence in You at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I'm Rebecca Miller, and our co-host today, of course, is Otto Los. And we are now speaking with Kristina Liu, who is a radio show producer and pulls the show together each week. And now we're talking about what's going on in the town. Although I did say in the beginning, we really kind of sometimes go off talking about other things.
It all mixes into what the event is at hand. So like we were just talking about how Kristina has a ledger for her bills and how we kind of all do it, and that was kind of where we left off. So. And we also learned, which I was thinking also while Otto was saying, he mentioned his different boxes for different things, which I think is important. And that's something that Otto probably has learned through our organizing decluttering woman, because she always says, you make these different piles of things, and I like that his dump in time box is, I like that because it's like, listen, I'm not fully ready to commit, but I'm putting it in this box, to hopefully dump in time. And Otto's just the king of boxes. I mean, he had, let's not forget, we'll take people down a trip down memory lane on the radio show, was Otto had announced his turkey Thanksgiving box. So Otto, like maybe you can just do different theme boxes for different things.
Well, I'll tell you what, now you transfer that concept to email. All right. How cluttered is your email? And I'm a big on, I actually ran a class, believe it or not, way back on managing email when I was working. And having a dump in time box in your email, a folder, where you just, put that in there because you think you might need it. And then every 30, 40 days, I just dump everything that's older than 30 days.
Oh, you're good. I got things, but I don't delete anything off my email. I have since the year one of emails that go back because I'm always terrified that I'm going to need some.
Well, do you have folders?
Yes.
You set up a lot of folders?
Yeah.
So you have folders. So you have your inbox. And I heard people tell me they got 30,000 emails in their inbox. So that's almost a useless inbox.
Yeah.
And in Gmail or whatever you use, you can prioritize by clicking a star, and these are important emails or whatever. But you have to do something with the email right away. And, you either, I have what I'll call action today, meaning it's going to go in that folder, and that's action today. And then you have action dump in time, or maybe Project Independence Radio. I have a folder, and I'll clean that out every year. You go through it. It's a project. I mean, managing email is a big deal.
Otto, you should just teach a class. We should, it just should be Otto's class of like getting your life together.
Well, I mean, email. I know a lot of. I mean, I was still around in the business world when email was kicking in. All right, and we used Lotus, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
That was one of the early. Lotus was a big deal back then, and they never caught up to the times. But we used to get emails by God knows hundreds, thousands, whatever the number. And it finally came to me one day, and I said, if you don't get control of this stuff, you're going to be here all day cleaning up email. And 90% of it's garbage. So I have all kinds of, you can set up filters where, an email that comes from Dale Carnegie training, you try to unsubscribe. Okay, they still keep coming. So the unsubscribe didn't work. So now what I have is a filter is set up for that. Pick that one. You hit filter, set up filter. And now Dale Carnegie sales, anything that comes in from them goes into dumping time. And then I just dump it.
Look at him.
Even
Otto's like email system just sounds so.
Well, I mean, there's, to me, it's important to manage it, or it's going to manage you. It's like
my email is so out of control.
Yeah.
It's not even like I don't even care anymore. It's like I have my original email address that.
Me too. I have mine since I was in middle school.
Well, this is going back to, I think, 94. It was before I was even pregnant with Matt, who's going to be 26.
Yeah.
So, and I remember like with AOL, we used to have to put the disc in. And you'd wait, and then it would it was just so different.
It was over the phone too. It was like.
Oh yeah, we laugh because me and my brother have PTSD from, we had dial-up modems for a very long time in our house, and just that noise of the connecting AOL is really it's like a triggering sound now.
Right. Like when you hear it now, it's like, wait, I know it. What is that?
I know, and that's another thing, and this is probably all psychological as well. Could do a whole therapy session on why I cannot get rid of my original email address. Like I said, it's been since middle school, so that's like
can't get rid of that. No.
Do you get emails?
Oh yeah, it's comical because, of course, it was my my maiden name, Kristina Fennell, and C, which stood for Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys. So explaining this to someone, as an adult now, that is my email address, is funny. So my friends that know me crack up that is still my email address. But I said everything is connected to this email address. To have to go back now and change things, I was like, can't do it. I was like, so now it's kind of like nostalgic,
Yeah.
But that's
it's a whole world that didn't exist. Managing your PC in general. What the files are, how old they are.
No, what I think too is the overall message, and this goes for anything, right? Like in this preparedness kind of world, is that it's a very intensive task the first time you do it, right? So like the first time you want to clean up your computer or you want to organize something, but once you do that, to do it, then you're able to just kick into little by little, so it just makes it nice and I know that's why a lot of people don't do it, right? Because it's super overwhelming and a big task. That's why we say little, do baby steps to certain things, but it isn't. Because I even think just in the example of cleaning out my garage, that was a huge task where we got rid of a lot of stuff. But if anyone knows me, I'm constantly accumulating stuff. So it's a constant thing. So, I have to actively, I just did it like a couple of nights ago. I like went in there because I was, shifting out these summer, fall kind of boxes, and I wanted to have my Halloween boxes ready for when I want to decorate for Halloween. So I was doing that like switch out. And it was just, but in that process, I was like, let me organize this, let me throw this away, so it's just, it might be intense, but it's so worth it in the long run, because then you can kind of just do small things to maintain, the process.
Well, I'm doing the garage again right now because I have my jet tailgating party coming up outside.
Oh, one of my favorite Lowe's family parties.
2 weeks, all right. And I'm looking and I'm saying to myself, you must have 5,000 screws and nails in here.
That's what we have to do.
When you buy one, you need a nail or a screw. You can't buy one nail or one screw. You got to buy a box of them.
Yep.
All right. So I got boxes of different kinds of nails and screws. And I'm saying, why am I keeping this?
I know.
But then I say, what do I do with them? Can you just throw them in the garbage, or are they recycling items?
Good point. We actually, Jay, because he said if he dare sees a screw in the driveway that will puncture the tire of one of his cars, he'll like lose his mind. So we always put them in like a sealed container. But that's a good point. I don't know if they're recyclable. That's something we'll have to ask, our recycling gurus over there, because that's a good point.
Well, I'm not exaggerating. I'll bet you I have 5,000.
Well, that's something we just talked about, because, like I said, there's always, more to kind of go through. And of course, we did like the big overall, like kind of getting rid of stuff. But there's so many, his tool bench, and it's all the tools between Jay and my dad, and, like the screws. And there's so many. And you're like, what the, and like, let's be real. At the end of the day, if we need some kind of screw, we're going to go get the screw. So we're not going through, our screw pile trying to find like the magical screw that's going to fit. We're like, oh, let's get this size. But it's a waste of time, because we have all these screws if they were just kind of organized.
Let's talk about the screwdrivers. How many screws?
Oh, yeah. Phillips, whatever.
It is.
And how many? I got some screwdrivers in there that have wooden handles. They go back to, Yeah.
Well, you should have saw like some of the tools that my dad had in the garage were, I don't even know. And if Jay was looking, he's like, how are we going to break it to your dad that these are garbage and it's time to be like thrown out? But he's like, oh no, this still works. I'm like, I don't even know like where the handle is to this like screw you have. I was like, so it's time for this to go. So that was, our, it felt very good to get rid of the bizarre tools that my dad, at least Jay's tools are like in good condition. My dad's, on the other hand, were, some next level when he was like roofing. I was like, what do you need roofing? You're not roofing anymore. Like, what are you doing with roofing knee pads? Well,
some of the tools I had, I inherited from people from 1,000 years ago.
Right.
And they're not antique items that people are going to jump all over on and buy. So I just threw out a hand drill. I got, a hand drill. I have an electric drill. I've never used a hand drill.
Yeah.
What's it for here? Am I keeping this?
I feel like, the interesting things people have accumulated in their attics and their garages, in their basements. I am so thankful. Sometimes I always think I wish I had a basement, for more store, but then I think about it. I would just it would be another thing that I would have to so it would be, I'm glad. I've come to the conclusion, thank God I do not have one, because it would just be another reason to save certain things that are unnecessary to save. So,
well, if you can replace it, don't keep it.
Well, I remember, because that was a golden nugget we had on the show, that if it could be replaced for under $20, you can get rid of it. I still struggle with that, because I say that all the time, because I was just doing that the other day with Jay. I was like, we can replace it, but should I get rid of it? Should I keep it? It's like these dilemmas. But listen, and there's certain things that, come in handy, like I said, at a moment's notice, I could throw together something special for someone. So,
well, I have a big pickaxe in the garage that I inherited from somebody, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, now, when is the last time you actually used a pickaxe? Probably never, but I have it there because why? I don't know, because maybe somebody else might use it. I don't know.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
at
kind
my
of
house.
Yeah, you never know. But I think that this is a very interesting thing that everybody can certainly relate to. And I always encourage people, especially, during COVID when everyone was home, to kind of go through, like I said, just the fact of cleaning out my Beck and I were laughing. Americans were like, how many times can we organize the mugs in our cabinets, but like just doing something like that. And it's just one area made you feel good. So I just think it starts small. People don't get overwhelmed little by little.
Well, we actually have to take a break. We'll continue with Talk of the Town with Kristina Liu and Otto Los. You're listening to Project Independence and You here at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org, and we will be right back.
So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios podcasts, available on any podcast app. Those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
And welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. I've been your host, Rebecca Miller, and of course, co-host Otto Los and Kristina Liu, the radio show's producer. We are in our last segment. I can't believe it. Again, another show that flew by. And here we are.
You can call 311 or 869-6311 if you are interested in participating in that.
So important when we always give that phone number out. 869-6311 should be programmed in your cell phone. So if you're a frequent 311 caller and you use your cell phone, make sure you have the actual number to dial, 869-6311. And you may want to add 516 to that because
you have to.
October, right?
Yes, all calls have to have the area code.
Right. So
no matter whether you're in your area code or not.
Right. So, it's important to not call 311 from your cell phone. You want to dial 869-516-869-6311.
Absolutely. No, it's definitely important to do because we want to get you connected and make your process as easy as possible. So I want to remind people there are tons of programs going on in Project Independence. Some are still virtual, some we're kind of transitioning into in-person.
Yeah.
Things are constantly evolving. So, you could always call, as we said, 516-869-6311 for the most up-to-date information on that because it is quite ever-changing things. But we have our flu shot program is coming up. That's kicking off in October. It's going to be at Clint G. Martin Park in Port Washington, Adult Activity Center, Great Neck Social Center, and the Yes We Can Community Center. So you can schedule that, which I think is important. And those registrations have been coming in as well, which is wonderful.
And I believe all in-person classes, anything you're doing in person, you must register for.
Yes, absolutely.
So, there is a protocol we have to follow. We can't exceed numbers. We have to social distance and follow all the safety protocols. So
absolutely. And like I said, that's ever changing those things. So your best bet is always to call first with anything, and any of these programs, some dates might have to get canceled, whatever it might be, it's important always. My rule of thumb is to across the board, always check with the call center and make sure that the program is still happening. So, and hopefully it will, we always approach, last year was a little different because we were doing things, via Zoom. So, weather didn't really affect unless there was a Wi-Fi, outage or something. But now that we're going back to in person, we're back in the world of like, oh God, there's weather, that we kind of have to figure out now. So always best to call first and check out. But
talking in person, I got one. The Veterans Breakfast is at the Swan Club this year.
Right.
And it's on October the 15th. And I won't be able to go to the breakfast because it's on a Friday.
Oh, I'm sorry. We can
I'll get it delivered. I'll get a takeout.
That's right. I'll send you some breakfast over to your house, Otto.
That is it for today's show. Thanks to Dan Cox too at LIUWCWP.org, 88.1 FM. Just wanted to wish everybody a great and a safe weekend. Kristina, thanks for an awesome show today, and our specials and our guests and Otto. And all our love goes to John too, where We're rooting for you. Next week's show is the 10-year anniversary. Thanks for listening. Be well all. Have a great weekend. This was Project Independence and You at 88.1 WCWP.org.